Welcome, welcome to my ex dirty secrets.
The sound of her voice cracked the air like a gunshot. I want a divorce. For a second I thought I'd misheard. The words seemed to hang between us, echoing off the walls of our once warm kitchen. My hand froze around the coffee mug, steam curling upward, the smell of roasted beans suddenly sickening. Then I saw him, standing behind her. Daniel, her coworker, the man she'd told me not to worry about. He leaned against the doorway, smirking like he'd won something. His presence was too casual, too comfortable, like this wasn't the first time he'd been in my house. My throat tightened as I glanced between them, my pulse pounding in my ears. "Are you serious, Emily?" I managed, though my voice barely made it past the lump in my throat. Her eyes flickered, just for a second before hardening again. "Yes, I'm done pretending. Done pretending." The words sliced deeper than the rest. She'd been pretending. Pretending to love me. Pretending that everything was fine when I kissed her goodbye every morning. I looked at Daniel again. He didn't even have the decency to look away. Just that smug half-smile, the kind of look men wear when they think they've won something they don't deserve. I wanted to hit him. I wanted to break something, anything, but the weight of betrayal pressed me still. I set the mug down carefully, as if any sudden movement would make everything collapse faster than it already was. "When?" I asked quietly. She hesitated, her lips trembling before she forced composure back into her tone. "Does it matter?" That was my answer. It had been going on for a while. Long enough that he felt bold enough to stand here in my home, behind her like some sick prize. The silence stretched, heavy with unspoken words and shattered trust. Then, almost instinctively, I laughed. A short, hollow sound that startled both of them. "You think this is funny?" she snapped. "No," I said, wiping at my eyes though I wasn't crying. "It's tragic. You could have just said you stopped loving me. You didn't have to bring him here." Her face softened, guilt flickering through her expression, but Daniel stepped forward, protective, possessive. "Maybe it's time you left, man. She's made her decision." My head snapped toward him, fury finally rising through the fog. "You don't get to talk to me in my own house." He froze, his smirk faltering for the first time. I turned to Emily, my voice calm now, eerily so. "You sure about this?" Her lips parted, but she didn't answer. That silence, hesitant, uncertain, told me everything I needed to know. I nodded slowly. "Good," I said, stepping closer, holding her gaze. "She's all yours." The color drained from her face. She hadn't expected that. Neither had he. I grabbed my jacket from the chair and walked out, the sound of my footsteps echoing in the hallway. Behind me, I heard her whisper his name, her voice trembling. It was almost pity I felt then, almost. Outside, the air hit me cold and sharp, like waking from a nightmare. I got in the car, started the engine, and just sat there for long moments staring at the house. Every memory flickered through my mind like flashes from another life. The laughter, the fights, the small gestures that had once meant everything. How many of them were lies? The realization settled in. I'd been losing her long before today. 3 weeks later I got the email from HR. "Daniel Whitmore has been terminated effective immediately." I blinked, reading it twice before the truth clicked. Emily still worked there. Daniel didn't. I shouldn't have cared, but curiosity got the better of me. I scrolled through social media that night. Her page was private, but his wasn't. Single post. A photo of him alone at a bar, glass in hand, captioned, "People always show their true colors eventually." I felt a strange sense of satisfaction. Quiet, hollow, but real. Months passed. The divorce papers came, and I signed them without hesitation. But something inside me shifted during those long, sleepless nights alone. The betrayal stopped feeling like a wound and started feeling like clarity. I began to see how distant she'd grown, how often she'd avoided my eyes, how she'd flinched at small kindnesses as though guilt was eating her alive. She hadn't left because she'd fallen in love with him. She'd left because she couldn't face what she'd done. One evening there was a knock on my door. It was her. She looked different, tired, smaller somehow. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I hesitated, then stepped aside. The house felt foreign to both of us now. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry," she whispered. "It ended with Daniel. It was a mistake. All of it." I studied her face. The same eyes I once loved now just looked lost. "I believe you," I said finally. "But that doesn't change what happened." Her lip quivered. "I know." We stood there in silence, the ghosts of what we'd been hanging thick in the air. Then she looked up at me, tears glistening. "Do you hate me?" I shook my head slowly. "No. But I don't love you either." She nodded, wiping her eyes, and left without another word. The sound of the door closing felt final, like the last note of a song that had played too long. Later that night I sat by the window, watching the streetlights flicker through the rain. I thought about how easily love turns into something else when lies take root. How the people we trust most can become strangers before we even notice. But beneath it all, a strange peace settled in my chest. Not joy, not bitterness, just acceptance. She was gone. He was gone. And for the first time in years I was free.